What's going on? 9:27 in the morning. It is September 8th. I think Sarah and I just wrapped up, maybe 6 hours ago? Something like that. It's one of those days where you get up, you just walk Tilly real quick, get her fed, brush your teeth, slap some water on it, and just keep rolling. So that's just how we're doing it. It's primetime football, and welcome inside the channel. I'm bobtrosset, as always. This is where I bring you Baltimore sports and beyond. It's brought to you by my friends at Preston Automotive Group. And if you could, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. We've got a lot to discuss after a heartbreaker last night in Buffalo ends up on the wrong end for the Ravens. They certainly end up on the wrong side of history. 41-40 is the final. Baltimore falls to 0-1. Cleveland coming up this coming weekend. It's the home opener in Baltimore, but I feel like we won't even turn a page for a couple days before we start kind of diving into that, because this was just an epic collapse of epic proportions, which unfortunately in recent years has become all too familiar and a very disturbing trend that we have certainly spoken about before. I will get to some comments. We'll open up the guest lines and a number of other things. And Sarah and I, of course, will be live with you at 12 noon in 2.5 hours from right now. So with that in mind, we might as well jump right in. Thanks to Preston Automotive Group for sponsoring this episode. You can scan the QR code that you see in the upper right-hand corner if you want to learn more. I'll tell you more about them and ProfitX in just a bit. Let's begin with the elephant in the room. It has not been good enough from the head coach and his ability to finish. Rodney Harrison, former Super Bowl champion New England Patriot and Sunday Night Football commentator and analyst, will have some words directly aimed at John Harbaugh and his defensive coordinator, Zach Orr, in just a few moments. But first, Josh Dubow, Associated Press, noting that only coaches to lose twice in regular season when leading by 15-plus points at the start of the fourth quarter. John Harbaugh, in 55 opportunities, has done such. Weeb Eubank, I don't even know who Weeb Eubank is, in 42 opportunities. And Marion Campbell in 6 opportunities. Again, the only coaches to lose twice in regular season play when leading by 15-plus points at the start of the fourth quarter. Not a list that you want to be on if you're John Harbaugh. He's got 17 blown double-digit leads in the second half. That's the most since at least 1991. Again, that is 17 blown double-digit leads in the second half. The Ravens' inability to shut down games, to shut down performances where they have absolutely no business, right, not being in or not closing out, continues to be an Achilles heel for this team throughout the Lamar era, dating back a few years now. Dante has this one. CBS had it as well. This got a lot of run online. Teams with 40-plus points and 235-plus rushing yards in a game were 277-0, meaning unbeaten, including the playoffs until last night. Those teams are now 277-1. Again, the Ravens put up 40-plus points, 235-plus yards on the ground. And again, teams leading up to that point with similar stat lines were 277-0, unbeaten until last night. The Ravens had a 99.1% chance of winning against the Bills with just under 5 minutes left, according to ESPN's analytics. And they've now lost 8 games since the 2021 season, in which, as Ben Solik points out here, at one point had a win probability of at least 90%. That's 3 more than the next closest team. Look, I could go on and on. I have more stats that show the conservative play calling, this unwillingness to fully step on the throttle when it matters the most to close out games. As Warren Sharp notes here, after scoring 40 points on 8 drives, they were cooking on all cylinders. The play calling was through the roof. The diversification through the roof. Everything. They were rolling. They didn't even punt until, I feel like, what was it, the third quarter? It was at some point in the second half. It wasn't until they called on Jordan Stout. They gained 410 yards on those 8 drives. The final 3 drives, though, what have you done for me when it matters the most? Punt was, of course, a 3 and out, just 6 yards. A fumble by Derrick Henry, inexplicable. in the fourth quarter after a historic performance up until that point, one of his classic signature Derrick Henry games. He fumbles the football in the fourth quarter, 4 yards just totaled in that drive. And then, of course, a punt, 3 and out, 7 yards. That one on 4th and 3, John Harbaugh made clear after the game, or I should say Lamar Jackson was made clear after the game that he was cramping in that moment, which may have led to John Harbaugh's decision to punt the football, take it out of Lamar's hands in crunch time, 4th and 3. We know what this team is about. Yes, they were down Pat Ricard. Yes, they were down Isaiah Likely. But I think at some point you have got to feel your defense reeling, and reeling were they ever. 28 second half points surrendered by this defense. Here is Rodney Harrison, 2-time Super Bowl champion, former New England Patriot. Now he's on Sunday Night Football in America with Tony Dungy and Jack Collingsworth. He had this to say about Harbaugh and Zach Orr postgame. Listen to this.
Coach Harbaugh, excuse me, I'm looking at Coach Harbaugh, and he has to continue to emphasize finishing. And that's something that comes from the head coach. And this just cannot, I mean, they're too talented of a team. This is their Super Bowl window. They have an opportunity to do some special things. And when I see them falling short like this, it's just an undisciplined team. They get comfortable, and they just need that head coach to continue to put that pressure on them and say, guys, you can never get comfortable. I don't care if you have a 15-point lead. You got to continue to finish. And I think that comes from the head coach.
And you had mentioned already this season, you felt like that had been some of their shortcomings, in particular in the playoffs, was some of those similar mistakes. Is that some of the same things you saw tonight?
Yeah, it's just it's a mindset, okay? Whether you're up 15 points or not, you can never relax. You can never just say, Coach, okay, we're good. It's only 4 minutes left. You're playing against Josh Allen. You're playing against a team that's super explosive. They got an unbelievable quarterback that they always believe that he can get it done, Coach.
Yep, no doubt about it. And again, when you talk about discipline, you talk about doing things right, and they didn't do it when it counted. In those last 5 minutes of the game, they didn't execute.
And some of the players have to be accountable.
Yeah.
I talked to Jair Alexander. He said, I'm ready to play. I'm going to play 20, 25 plays. That's half. You got to be ready. When your name is called, you have to be ready. And if you don't have post-safety help, what are you doing playing outside technique, giving up the inside? It's those little things, but that comes from an experienced defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? So
details.
The small details, and that's the difference between winning a championship and just being an MVP and not winning a championship.
For sure. And as good of a game as Derrick Henry had, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when this thing's all said and done. That is a 2 hands on the football, as tight as you can get it scenario. Without that fumble, they're probably still going to put this game away.
But also felt like the defense, they were doing the same thing, just conservative, cover 2, no pressures, nothing exotic, no moving around. It was just a base defense. And once again, defensive coordinator Zach Orr, I think he's grown as a defensive coordinator, but he has to get better. He has to understand his personnel better, and he has to understand the opposing team's personnel better.
A base defense that was bleeding like an open wound much throughout the second half. Rodney Harrison, again, some pointed criticism there, both towards John Harbaugh and his defensive coordinator, Zach Orr. Quote, I'm looking at Coach Harbaugh. He has to continue to emphasize finishing, and that's something that comes from the head coach. It's just an undisciplined team. They get comfortable. They just need that head coach to continue to put that pressure on them. He has applied that pressure himself, by the way, Rodney has, at times in the past, in recent history, on that exact Sunday Night Football set. What about Z.O., second-year defensive coordinator? Quote, I think he's grown as a DC, but he has to get better. He has to understand his personnel better, and he has to understand the opposing team's personnel better. The numbers, again, suggest that this was an epic collapse that has become all too familiar in recent years under John Harbaugh. It has to get better. And at this point, it's beyond just getting better. This is quite literally preventing these Ravens from getting to where they want to go. The Bills' win probability was as low as 1.1% with over 8 minutes remaining in the fourth quarter. At the time, they trailed 40-25. Next Gen Stats has this as the most improbable comeback by the Bills under Josh Allen, and the 13th most improbable comeback by any team over the last decade. Wow. I mean, when you start to soak in some of these analytics, some of these wrong side of historic statistics, you do not want to be the Ravens when you're on this side. But unfortunately, they are. And that is the harsh truth. That's the hard truth and the reality of where they've been. Josh is the first player in NFL history to have 250 plus passing yards and 2+ rushing touchdowns in any single quarter of any single game. He did it in the fourth quarter. And of course, yes, he brought the Bills back from a 15-point deficit. So much so, Bills Nation, Bills Mafia was rolling out of Highmark Stadium because they thought the game was over. What about Josh when it counted? Money downs, third and fourth, 9 of 10, 115 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns. I think 2 things can be true. 1, Josh Allen was exceptional last night when they needed him to be. But you know what? It's a lot easier to be exceptional, a lot easier to be exceptional when a 4-man pass rush is non-existent. There was no rush. Nnamdi Madubuike, the lone sack on the night from Zach Orr's group. That unit was quiet, was underwhelming, and at times looked winded and not conditioned in that fourth quarter. I get it. It was a barn burner type of game. This was a shootout type of game, but that's a group that has not showed up too often in big games like this under the primetime bright lights. You can go back to January as well on that same site, in that same venue in the divisional round game. They are not getting home enough. And I saw some effort. I saw some lack thereof, if you will. And I saw a lack of true consistency in the ability with a 4-man rush to truly disrupt Josh Allen. It's just, you're not going to win football games like that when you're trying to close out games. And we'll get into, again, what's become really an epidemic, right? Almost the this allergic nature to closing out games, because the graphic that has been circulating with scores when the Ravens had these games seemingly locked up and then didn't, just had another layer added to it yesterday. But first, this episode is brought to you by my friends at Preston Automotive Group. And I want to say thank you to my people at Preston. It is over 2 years now of partnership with these guys. And at Preston, Bobby Baltimore subscribers get access to 2 exclusive offers. $500 towards a newer pre-owned vehicle if you mention my name at any one of their dealerships. Or when you buy 4 tires, you'll get 50% off your alignment. You've got over 2,000 vehicles to choose from. If you click the link that's included in the show notes below, it'll take you to my unique URL page right here. Christy's the site operator. You can message her for quick little questions. Again, you can be reminded of the deals that are available to Bobby Baltimoreans, like this $500, $500. You know how it goes on Quick Sleep and only a Celsius diet. $500 towards a newer pre-owned vehicle. Or again, when you buy 4 tires, you'll receive 50% off your alignment. All you got to do is tell them that I sent you. You can contact them easily by filling out this form right here, or you can get started right now by breaking this thing down category by category. First of all, the open inventory has over 3,300 vehicles. I love the fact that I was able to get some service done a couple weeks ago on my way down to St. Pete. I brought the Bronco into the Randallstown location. That's Preston Ford West. They gave me a loaner for the day, a spare. It was an F-150. That thing was awesome. I was barreling down the streets of Baltimore. But if you'd like to peruse today, tomorrow, moving forward, go break it down by price, vehicle condition, year, make. I mean, you can really get down into the nitty-gritty detail. Locations-wise, they're all over the Maryland area. Aberdeen, Denton, Dover, Delaware, Georgetown, Delaware, Hurlock, Maryland, Keller, Virginia, Lewis, Delaware. I mean, you take your pick here. Again, my home dealership is Randallstown, Maryland. They're awesome there. I love them. And here are all your other dealership options. So location, dealership options, plenty to choose from. Thank you to Preston. You can get started today by visiting PrestonMotor.com. All that information can be found in the show notes. And they always have a presence, by the way, at the Be More Around Town pregame tailgates that are hosted outside M&T Bank Stadium by Brian Snyder and his wonderful crew. Again, scan the QR code that you see in the upper right-hand corner if you're interested in getting started right now. I just dropped that in the upper right-hand corner. Here's the graphic that the Ravens don't want any part of, but unfortunately, they have to be. These are games over the last several years, right? And the latest one becomes, well, what's the latest collapse? Right here. It's Bills, it's Ravens, and it's added to a list that, again, it's fourth quarter, or in Buffalo's case a few years ago, 20-3, right? In the second quarter, the Ravens lost that game. You got to go back to Ravens-Dolphins. I think that was a Thursday night contest several years ago. They had a 35-14 fourth quarter lead, 35-14 fourth quarter lead, double-digit lead over the Giants in the fourth quarter, 9.2 possession lead over Jacksonville in the fourth quarter, a double-digit second quarter lead over Pittsburgh, comfortable third quarter 24-9 lead over Cleveland, and again, a double-digit second half lead for the Ravens over the Bills. And again, what's the main, what's everything that goes in line? Speak. I know you can speak. Prime time, day after prime time, brain just goes below the waistline. Sorry. Thank you for your patience. This is a list that you don't want to be on. And ultimately, it is a disturbing trend that continues to add layer by layer by layer, seemingly year by year by year. And Bo Smolka of Pressbox took a look right here at specifically all the ones that you want to look at. And I have his caption to go along with it. So let me just make sure that I'm doing this accurately. This is according to Pro Football Reference. This is blown leads since the start of the 2022 season. Again, you see games on here that should have been in the bag. Last night should have been in the bag, but it wasn't. 28 second half points surrendered by this Ravens defense. They led 20-13 going into halftime. And we'll get into some of the marginal errors, right, that led to and really started to tally and grow in terms of significance throughout this game. 41-40 is the final. Yes, I think anytime you have a barn burner like this, anytime you have a game that is a shootout like this, you will look back and dissect specific moments, specific decisions. But one thing that always seems to loom large in these types of games is the Ravens' inability to finish. And I think that right here is an indication of that. It's an indictment in their inability to finish these games right here, according to this sheet right here. Ravens blown leads since the start of the 2022 season. And the latest one at the very top, as you can see, is a 15-point blown lead. September 7th, Bills, Ravens, Buffalo emerges victorious. It's an improbable, inexplicable win, 41-40. All you can kind of do here is I don't know how you make sense of it. We'll try our best, but I don't know how you properly make sense of this kind of collapse yet again that continues to be an Achilles heel and a trend for a Ravens team that cannot get out of their own way. And of course, what's second on this list? Also in the 2025 calendar year, we all remember it. It was just last January in the divisional round against these Buffalo Bills, where the Ravens coughed up a 7-point lead and ultimately collapsed 27-25. You can go back to a couple times, 3 times to be exact, these blown leads in 2024. Eagles, Raiders, of course, which was the home opener last year. And how could we forget the rematch of the AFC Championship against those Chiefs in week 1 of last year's regular season. Thank you guys for being here. I know you hate this. You hate to be here under these circumstances. Captain Hard with a super chat. He writes, something isn't clicking with Zach Orr and the pass rush is just slow. Hopefully we can get one from a team having a bad season. Rowe is not the same. I still want to watch some film on Roquan Smith before truly evaluating or making blanket statements on him. You saw the weak side linebacker, his running mate, rotating throughout the evening. Trenton Simpson started the game as Roquan's running mate at the weak side, and then Teddy Buchanan popped up out of nowhere on that second drive, the third drive, and then so on and so forth. They were leaning on a rotation, much like they were last year with Malik Harrison and Chris Board. That'll absolutely be something to watch. I thought Teddy Buchanan looked good out there, looked comfortable, and was next up, if you will, next man up after Trenton. Thanks, Captain, for being here today. Wismo Jones writes, Harbaugh doesn't believe in belt to ass. Thank you, Wismo. And again, this right here, these are the numbers that unfortunately tell a really brutal story, and that is the Ravens' inability to fully close out football games, and that's going to be a problem. King Henry was a part of that, unfortunately, in the fourth quarter, coughing up a football, coughing up what became a costly fumble, and really was the beginning of the end for the Ravens in the fourth quarter. Here is the King post-game in a media scrum, courtesy of ESPN's Jamison Hensley.
I got to take care of the ball. Told my teammates after the game, put the boss on me. I own it like a man. We emphasized taking care of the ball since we got back. It's a big emphasis, especially in our room at running back, taking care of the football, keeping it high and tight. Not like a days ago, and they made a play, but I put this boss on me. I take care of the ball. I feel like it'd be a different situation. But as far as offense, we just got to execute, and we didn't do as well, at the end. So we just got to look at the film and correct it.
Just like a pro would, right? Derrick Henry taking accountability, holding himself accountable, looking himself right in the mirror, if you will, and ultimately taking one on the chin. And what was otherwise, unfortunately, you take away that fumble, just a classic signature Derrick Henry type game. The guy averaged 9.4 per tote, 18 carries, 169 yards on the ground, 2 touchdowns, a long of 49, all kinds of yards after contact. Just a vicious stiff arm there on Bishop at one point. He had 1 catch for 13 yards as well. And yet, all you're going to remember is the inability to protect the football when it counts. What did he have last year? Help me out, chat. Just one fumble all football season long last year, and what was year 1 with the Ravens? Unbelievable. Where else can we point to, though, in terms of divvying up blame? A few things come to mind. I'll open up the guest lines. You can share with me what you think the blame should be divvied up accordingly. You can visit the link right now that I'm about to drop into the live chat. Guest lines are open. I'm curious to hear your thoughts on where blame should be divvied up. Obviously, there's a lot of different directions you can go in a game like this, but I kind of tallied up a few things late night prior to our post-game show last night. And of course, I think the top of mind first is Derrick Henry's fourth quarter fumble. That certainly was a momentum shifting setback for the Ravens that they could not overcome, and that Derrick himself, I can't imagine he slept well last night at all. Tyler Loop, of course, hits from 49, hits from 52 in his rookie debut from a regular season perspective, but misses an extra point. Doinks it off the upper right upright. Brutal, certainly in a game that's decided by 1 point. Other than that, I thought Tyler did pass the test. He did make one mistake. He failed to land one of his kickoffs. I had a note on this. Where was it? Yes, he didn't make it to the landing zone, and we know this is year 2 of the whole dynamic kickoff and some of the new rules that come with that. So that allowed the Bills to start at the 40, and there were just too many times from a special teams perspective, particularly early on, where Josh Allen was working with short fields, way too short fields, given his dynamic nature and what he brings to the table. That's got to get cleaned up. And from a special teams perspective, to be quite honest with you, it was a C- last night. It just was not a failing. I should say it was not a passing grade from a special team standpoint. Maybe Keon Martin gets that up to like a C+ because his timing was just impeccable on some coverage unit opportunities that he got. But again, it's got to be better. It's got to be better. 28 second half points allowed with very little, non-existent, almost, dare I say non-existent pass rush, 4-man rush, not getting home, not giving discomfort to Josh Allen, giving him all kinds of time, and at times really looking winded and not upright from a pass rush standpoint. That and many other mistakes on the back end led to, again, 28 second half points surrendered to a team that was reeling And really, at points throughout this game, you're thinking to yourself, the Ravens have complete and utter control, don't they? Until they didn't. Jair Alexander struggled. You heard Rodney Harrison critique some of his game from a coverage standpoint, playing outside rather, and then being exposed and vulnerable to the inside. And then, sort of a game within the game type of X's and O's mistake to tackle Keon Coleman instead of letting him waltz into the end zone. Who knows? Maybe Keon would have taken a knee at the 1, but that was a clock game mistake right there. Would have given Lamar over 60 seconds to give him at least a chance, Tyler Loop, a chance to win the game. Instead, you let Keon Coleman score or I should say, you let Keon Coleman be tackled, and it was a great shoestring tackle. But again, that's just sort of not foreseeing the clock management game that could have given Lamar Jackson and this Ravens offense an opportunity to march down the field and at least give Tyler Loop a chance to win it as time expires. In the first half, again, you let the Bills march right down the field with, what was it, 25 seconds? Something along those lines to go get points. It was a field goal and a 1 second left field goal. Good. I'm sure you guys are out there being like, oh, it's the longest 2 seconds ever, or longest 1 second ever. And maybe it felt like that in the moment. But how about let's address the elephant in the room? The Ravens defense bleeds. It's an open wound and so vulnerable in certain situations when you just have to get to the half, get to the end of this game. And they just, for whatever reason, lay down. And of course, I had this up here prior to learning that Lamar, as he told media last night, was dealing with cramps. I said, hey, John Harbaugh, why are you not giving Lamar his moment on 4th and 3 when you can close out the game, and instead you punt to Josh Allen to take on your reeling defense? But look, I have a hard time getting after Harbaugh if Lamar Jackson was indeed, as he said he was, cramping in that moment, running off the field and probably telling Harbaugh, hey, I'm cramping right now. We've had an insane game. On one play, he ran 75 yards on what was a 19-yard gain, made completely something, I should say, out of nothing. I have a hard time. And again, I hadn't seen or listened to the press conference at the time of this tweet. So just to be clear there, when it comes to the bullet point, let me know where you guys are at in terms of divvying up blame. As I mentioned here in the tweet, there's a number of different directions, really a laundry list way of directions you can go in a game that that's decided like this. But those were the first things that come to mind. We can get into more of the marginal, more of the smaller mistakes as well, right? First quarter, Malachi Starks drops an interception. We've talked about, obviously, this non-existent pass rush that allowed Buffalo and allowed Josh Allen to be so comfortable in the midst of this comeback. We talked about Tyler Loop's missed extra point. What else have we talked about? What about the Trenton Simpson touchback, right? That Jordan Stout's perfect punt should have been down inside like the 2, inside the 1. And instead, Trenton Simpson just can't allow himself to not touch that white paint. And unfortunately, that's another special teams mistake that I forgot about when I was talking about special teams in just a bit. I mean, there's a number of these things that we can talk about. Captain Hard says most of the blame goes to the defense. Shouldn't have to wait till week 10 for the defense to start playing good again against every punt return. I'm nervous, shaking my head. Greg Turner, Guju, let's get you guys involved in this program. There's over 800 concurrents at the moment. It is almost 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time the day after an absolute heartbreaker. Ravens fall to the Bills in just excruciating fashion. Week 1. They're staring at 0-1 right now with the Cleveland Browns coming up on Sunday. It'll be Baltimore's home opener, and absolutely a game where they have to bounce back. Guju, throw that camera on. We can get you on in just a second. Greg, let's go to you first, though. And the question is, I think the question for the guest call-in line today is, where are you assessing blame? Where are you divvying up blame on this overreaction Monday? Greg, thanks for calling in, my man. How you doing today, dude?
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right. Man, I'll be honest with you. My spirit is pretty low right now. I'm pretty hurt. Not because they lost the game, but just because I've seen this so many times that they just don't seem to play the way they should play or the way that they have been playing in that game or in previous games before. Major blame I got to put on the entire coaching staff. I mean, Harbaugh, where are you even at, man? Where are you even at? When we watch you on the sideline and things are slipping away, it doesn't even seem like he cares. It doesn't even seem like he's involved in the action. Offensive coordinator, I don't know what kind of plays you're calling. Why don't you have any trust in your jab and your left cross? You got Lamar Jackson, you got Derrick Henry. I know the offensive line is struggling and getting pushed all over the field, but you still got two guys that can pretty much guarantee you 5 yards per play. I don't know why you're not sticking with them in the big moments. I don't know why you're trying to hold Lamar Jackson under 20 pass attempts per game. And I don't know why they're afraid to step on the gas and put up 50 points on any team whenever they clearly have the ability to. And defensively, once they hit that third quarter or once they get up by about 14 points, it's like they go into the locker room and they get browbeaten. Don't you dare blow this team out. Don't you dare embarrass them in front of the entire world type of deal, where they just stop blitzing. They play the exact same coverage, play after play after play, no variety in the defense. What in the world is Jair Alexander even doing out there? He hasn't practiced the entire offseason. I mean, hey, you guys are behind the scenes, you're coaching, you see the guy, but he hasn't been preparing to the level that the other guys have been. And then Chidobe Awuzie was out there having a game. And when he almost made that pick, they like moved him and they automatically switched to this weird dime package where they put him to the inside as kind of a wheeled linebacker. I'm like, what in the world? Leave him out there. Him and Wiggins on the side were doing great from what I had seen. I mean, they were giving up points, but at least they were holding their own. But Jair Alexander just, and I'm just saying, it's on the coaches for me. And I think they gave that game away. And I think most of these games where I'm glad that you put those stats up that shows how many double-digit leads they've given up in the fourth quarter. But I don't know another head coach that wouldn't have been fired after 8 of those. I think
Greg,
we're
why
at
don't we
10
cut
to 12.
to
But
not to interject, but why don't we
no,
cut
that's
real
all
quick, just in case we've been doing. I want to keep you on here for a second because I want to get your thoughts on Rodney Harrison's post-game thoughts. That's what I built this stream around. We're over 30 minutes into this, just in case folks are just waking up today late, which is understandable if that's the case. Here is Rodney Harrison talking with pointed criticism in direct aim of John Harbaugh, Zach Orr, and even Jair Alexander last night on the Sunday Night Football post-game set. Here's Rodney.
Looking at Coach Harbaugh, I'm looking at Coach Harbaugh, and he has to continue to emphasize finishing. And that's something that comes from the head coach. And this just cannot, I mean, they're too talented of a team. This is their Super Bowl window. They have an opportunity to do some special things. And when I see them falling short like this, it's just an undisciplined team. They get comfortable, and they just need that head coach to continue to put that pressure on them and say, guys, you can never get comfortable. I don't care if you have a 15-point lead. You got to continue to finish. And I think that comes from the head coach.
And you had mentioned already this season, you felt like that had been some of their shortcomings, in particular in the playoffs, was some of those similar mistakes. Is that some of the same things you saw tonight?
Yeah, it's just it's a mindset, okay? Whether you're up 15 points or not, you can never relax. You can never just say, Coach, okay, we're good. It's only 4 minutes left. You're playing against Josh Allen. You're playing against a team that's super explosive. They got an unbelievable quarterback that they always believe that he can get it done, Coach.
Yep, no doubt about it. And again, you talk about discipline, you talk about doing things right, and they didn't do it when it counted. In those last 5 minutes of the game, they didn't execute.
And some of the players have to be accountable.
Yeah.
I talked to Jair Alexander. He said, I'm ready to play. I'm going to play 20, 25 plays. That's half. You got to be ready. When your name is called, you have to be ready. And if you don't have post safety help, what are you doing playing outside technique, giving up the inside? It's those little things. But
that's what you were referencing right there, Greg, just to pause it for a second, right? Jair is not available much throughout the summer, to no fault of his own, by the way, right? Because he's less than a year removed from a PCL tear. It's only a month removed, right, from the knee drain. and he barely practiced. Matter of fact, leading into the last week, into week 1, he hadn't practiced since August 9th, if memory serves. He was just seen on a side field running. So I do wonder from a personnel standpoint, who's making the decision? Who feels confident enough that Jair Alexander, with not his regular season, if you will, legs at his disposal at this time, nor would you expect him to, why are you throwing him in that kind of situation? Not only does he make a mental error by tackling shoestring, beautiful tackle, by the way, but that's neither here nor there, on Keon Coleman, instead of letting him waltz into the end zone. Maybe Keon, we're talking about today, Greg, makes the mental error rather than Jair. But you also just heard some good criticism here from a technique standpoint, right? Playing outside, leaving the inside vulnerable for Jair Alexander. Maybe that won't be talked about a lot today because it wasn't headline worthy. But let me just finish here from Rodney. We'll get you back in. Chef TreZzz is in the waiting room. Guju is in the waiting room. Many others waiting as well. The guest lines are open. Thank you guys for being here today. I will have to jump in about 30 to get prepared for the vault at noon. You know, where it's that type of day, baby. This is my PJs right here because it's a brush your teeth kind of morning, right? Let Tilly out, feed her some kibble that she's barely even touched over here, grab a Celsius, and fucking go. Here's more Rodney Harrison.
That comes from an experienced defensive coordinator. You know what I mean? So
details,
the small details, and that's the difference between winning a championship and just being an MVP and not winning a championship.
For sure. And as good of a game as Derrick Henry had, he's going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer when this thing's all said and done. That is a 2 hands on the football, as tight as you can get it scenario. Without that fumble, they're probably still going to put this game away.
But also felt like the defense, they were doing the same thing, just conservative, cover 2, no pressures, nothing exotic, no moving around. It was just a base defense. And once again, defensive coordinator Zach Orr, I think he's grown as a defensive coordinator, but he has to get better. He has to understand his personnel better, and he has to understand the opposing team's personnel better.
Okay, Greg, quickly here, because I didn't give you a chance yet to react to Rodney Harrison's criticism. Then we're going to Chef. Then we're going to Juju. Give me your thoughts on Rodney Harrison's very specific feedback to both Harbaugh, Zach Orr. There's Jair involved in there as well. And by the way, I'll add, this is not the first time that Rodney has stuck his neck out there. He's a 2-time Super Bowl champion. I'm talking about related to John Harbaugh. He's suggested this before, and he's somebody that knows what it takes to win in the month of January, much less in the regular season as well.
I guess specifically on what he just talked about, I mean, I got 100% agree, except for when he talked about the players. After watching last night, it is 100% on the coaches for me, because the coaches who decide who plays in the game. It's the coaches who decide which offensive linemen get a chance to play. And the offensive lineman, I don't know how you feel about Daniel Falele, but he was getting mauled all last night. He was whiffing left and right. And it's like, come on, man. If you need 8 to 9 people that weigh 300 pounds on the field in order to run the ball, then your team really can't run the ball.
Hey, Greg, I'll tell you this. How I feel about it is that Lamar would have taken one last sack had Ben Cleveland been out there, I would think, because Ed Oliver blew Daniel Falele up. I'm talking about a game-wrecking type of play, one of those ones where you just knock him back and wreck the play. And Lamar's got to do what he does. Now, he wasn't able to do it then. He was able to do it on another one where that was ridiculous. What Next Gen Stats say he traveled 75 yards just for a 19-yard gain. That's absurd, just Lamar Jackson stuff. But again, there were a couple reps on the right-hand side of the line. I'm looking forward to talking to Cole Jackson at length tomorrow, who's going to be diving into this, obviously, in full on the collective. That's 8 o'clock Eastern. Jeff Zaribek, Cole Jackson, and myself for the foreseeable future. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock Eastern. Looking forward to that. He'll have more on that. But the right-hand side of the line, that includes, unfortunately, Roger Rosengarten at times last night, did not win their reps with Ed Oliver, and he had a game-wrecking performance for that Bills D-line.
Just before you let me go, I'm going to put that on Daniel Falele too, because there was one specific play that I remember where it looked like Roger Rosengarten got beat to the inside, but they had some type of play that was going to the left, and Falele was supposed to hold that guy. He was supposed to hold him for just a second to give Rosengarten a chance to reach that guy and perform the block, and he just barreled downhill and just ran away from the guy. So Harbaugh, it's on you. You gotta have the team ready. You gotta have the coach is ready, and you got to have your fingers on the pulse of the game. When you see the game getting out of hand, you got to do something. You got to make a call. You got to talk to somebody. I need to see you involved. I need to see you talking to the players. Man, it just didn't even seem like they cared last night. Even
Greg,
as they
thank
were.
you. I know you care, and I hope you care enough to call in
No, I
again, my
appreciate you
man.
letting me be on here. Thank you.
Absolutely. I'm
Take care.
I'm looking forward to doing it again. Greg Turner, thanks for the time this morning. Chef TreZzz and Guju and Rave Kingdom all posted up in the waiting room right now. And speaking of being posted up, the Discord is rolling right now, as you would suspect. It's an overreaction Monday. It's an emotional Monday. It is free to join this community that's coming up on 1,000 members. Again, it's the Discord community. It's free. I just dropped the link into the live chat right now. Let's just take a quick look before we cut to Chef. What's going on? I did watch this today. Kyle Van Noy has his new YouTube channel with his wife, Marissa. He gave about 17, 18 minutes or so of reaction after last night. There really wasn't a whole lot in there aside from taking accountability, sharing his disappointment, so on and so forth. He must have been up late, by the way, recording that episode. But as you can see here, there's just a lot of back and forth. I'm being mentioned here. I just don't know where the hell my mentions are. Romy says RIP 20. No, that was fun while it lasted, wasn't it? Jesus Christ. Where am I being mentioned? I don't know what's happening, but it looks like DHB. Douglas H. Brown Sr. is dropping in super chats hours before the show even starts. I love this guy. And we're under 2 hours out, of course, from the vault getting started. I'll have about 20 minutes more of content, which means we got to get the waiting room going right now. Chef TreZzz with a beautiful, beautiful blue sky. I hope that's nursing you back to life today, my friend. It's good to see you. I won't call you out today because I got nothing to call you out about. It has been a long off season. You did call in a couple times. I knew you weren't going to miss this opportunity. Give me a reaction to what we watched last night.
Disappointing. I mean, I think that's the easiest way to describe it is just disappointing because, I mean, you see this whole song and dance over and over, year after year. Like I said before, it's just that ugly Ravens loss that's just somewhere back there in that corner, just waiting to just come out for some reason. And on top of it just being disappointing, it's just unacceptable. I mean, for one, like Greg was saying, there was a play that it was going to be a run play or a play action or whatever, but Daniel Faalele, he didn't even really have to hold him for that long. I mean, he really just had to stick one hand out and just slow Ed Oliver down just a little bit so Roger Rosengarten can get to the other side of him and the play could actually happen. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, we already know how we feel about Daniel Faalele. What's most disappointing is this defensive line. I mean, there were so many plays where like they would start off and like they would start rushing the passer, and then all of a sudden it felt like damn near all of them just got stood up right where they were. It's like they had no strength, no power. They just, I mean, it looked like a JV squad playing a professional NFL team. I don't know how else to describe it. It was so disappointing. Um, and then I mean that also plays into the secondary where I mean yeah the secondary was getting cooked in the second half, but I mean if you don't have any pass rush, the DBs can't cover forever, and I mean that's just something that just
Rears its ugly head when it matters. Yes.
yeah.
Yes. And we watched it in the same exact venue 6 months ago. It's a group that just is non-existent when the lights are brightest. And I hope that Mike Green is able to sort of give this unit a spark, and maybe they end up bringing in remind me who's the only lone player that's out there at the veteran
Jadeveon
outside.
Clowney.
Thank you. Jadeveon Clowney. We know that Zedarius is, of course, the rich get richer. Philadelphia brings him at the end of last week. Where'd Judon go? Did he go to Miami?
I believe so. I'm not too sure. I'd have to look that up. But
Hold on. Let me just
I
look
mean,
real quick. I'm pretty sure he went to Miami. Yeah. Judon was signed by Miami within the last week or two. So needless to say, there's nobody saving this pass rusher unit. Let's be clear on that. There's nobody saving them unless they do something blockbuster in 2 months from now prior to the deadline. What can happen is that they can unleash Mike Green, and he can unleash himself if he feels like if he has that potential so early on in his career. But they are what they are. And again, all respect is due given how productive they've been throughout the regular season for years now, right? They've been 2-1, if I'm not mistaken, respectively, back-to-back years in terms of overall sacks league-wide in the regular season. So maybe they end up becoming that. This could be you don't want to be a prisoner of the moment in the sense that a measuring stick overreaction. Like this could very well be a rematch of the AFC Championship game. Do we agree on that? Like this.
I agree. I mean, again, with all the doom and gloom going on right now, it is still week one. Yeah, it hurts in terms of like playoffs if it comes down to like some type of tiebreaker or something like that. But the Ravens are still a playoff team. However, I mean, there are just issues that need to be addressed before we get to the games that really matter in January and hopefully February. But another thing that I want to hit on before I go.
Yeah, if you could do it in hyper speed for me.
Oh, I can. Special teams. I don't know what was going on. The Bills, their return team, it looked like they were getting all the perfect blocks, all the perfect lanes and everything, the ball vision from the returner. And just I don't think they rarely got stopped like at the 35. I think they were making it damn near to the 40 almost every single time. And then we look at our coverage team. I mean, I thought this was a revamped like special teams unit. I thought this was something that's supposed to be changed to where special teams wouldn't be a problem anymore. And I feel that's even more so on John Harbaugh because he's a special teams guy. I mean, that's literally his whole bread and butter. And it's something that's so frustrating in a way. I mean, I don't know if Keaton Mitchell, I think he was inactive for the game. If like Rasheen Ali showed something a little bit more in practice to be like, he's the guy, he's going to get the nod. But I mean, him as a returner, it was good. It was okay. But some of the lanes he was taking, the return team blocking wasn't great. It's disappointing, just all around disappointing.
Chef, Loops extra missed extra point. Trenton Simpson's touchback. Two short fields right out of the gate for Josh Allen and company to kind of settle in. And that was the case, obviously, at times in the second half as well. I can't knock Keon Martin because the timing was unbelievable, but I do kind of sit there and be like, holy shit, that was like a little bit too close for comfort. But hey, all power to him. The undrafted rookie makes quite a special teams debut, did he not? But yes, it's a group that's been far too below standard, if you will, in recent years. And you would have thought that with all the turnover, I get it, there's going to take some cohesion and probably some patience will be required with how much they did lose, being that Chris Board is an ace for them. Malik Harrison logged a ton of special teams reps over his years. But those two players are gone now, and they let them walk in free agency. And they signed Jake Hummel on day 1 or day 2 back in March. And they drafted, a lot of these undrafted rookies made this team for special teams purposes. And so far, they picked up right where they left off with that unit a year ago. I appreciate you, brother. I'll talk to you soon.
All right.
Chef TreZzz on a beautiful, beautiful day in the DMV. Guju and Rave, get to you in just a second. I appreciate you for your patience and for being here today. And as always, I want to continue to say thank you to all of my sponsors like ProfitX. That is America's #1 sports prediction market, and a brand new sponsor that's supporting the program, which obviously goes a long way when you're in this thing from a self-employed perspective, the way that I am. I'm going to be using ProfitX as my go-to for season-long plays and player props. It's America's, as I just mentioned, #1 sports prediction market where you win real money predicting sports in 40-plus states. I'll tell you about the Bobby B discount code in just a second. But here, as you see on screen right now, courtesy of the ProfitX graphic, is where you can find states that are participating right now. I know I'm in the Florida area. That is in the green or in the turquoise, if you will. Maryland is highlighted. There's many others as well, depending on where you guys are at. And as always, here's what you got to know about ProfitX. You'll get better odds than traditional sports books because you're playing against others, not the house. with ProfitX. You can request your own odds, play with confidence, and get super fast payouts straight to your bank, card, and if you're in the crypto game, that's available to you as well. If you sign up at ProfitX.co and use promo code BobbyB as you see on screen, or you will right now, again, that is promo code BobbyB, you'll get up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. So go ahead, consider signing up now at ProfitX.co and start winning real money predicting sports. Terms and conditions do apply. Visit the show notes to get started today, or again, just ProfitX.co. Guju coming up next here. The guest lines are open, then Rave. And yes, we are talking about, oh boy, yet another epic collapse in front of a primetime audience last night in Buffalo. 41-40 is the final. Sarah and I will be live on the vault in just over an hour and a half's time. So let's get to a couple more guest line calls. Guju, what's going on? I would say happy Monday to you, but judging by your face and demeanor right now, it's anything but. But I do appreciate you calling in. Where's your mind at today?
Yeah, thanks, man. I think the main thing is just like the lack of execution throughout the game. Like I feel like, especially at the end of that second half or the first half, like I kind of had a feeling it was going to be another one of those Ravens games where, you know, we barely either squeak out a win or, like you just seen there, lose. It's just like I'm not really sure what John Harbaugh's job is. Like we would expect, you know, a guy that was the supposed to be a special teams coach to have us execute better on special teams or be more prepared, especially with all these changes here. I know when they changed the kickoff rules, it seems like a lot of our fans were kind of happy that, you know, hey, special teams is going to be utilized more. John Harbaugh has a chance to you know, use his expertise. And I just didn't see that there at all. With like just a lot of the missed kicks, the constant gashing of our second, special teams defense, as well as just even in the second half on offense and defense, the game plan that we constantly show. It's just passive every time. Like I'm just I'm kind of at this point where I kind of feel like I know how the season's gonna go. So I'm just kind of waiting to watch, you know, Lamar and Derrick Henry and, you know, the offense do some things. And then, we'll probably make the playoffs. And I'm honestly expecting us to do the same thing in the playoffs again. But, you know, who knows? I'm not sure what your perspective on that is, but.
It's hard. I kind of almost refuse to go there week one, but I also understand why you would as a fan because of the PTSD and because of it's not even recency bias. It's just fact. And what you see up on the screen is fact, unfortunately. And in total indictment, in terms of what the Ravens' DNA is when it comes to closing out games. They are vulnerable for whatever reason. They clam up, seemingly. They fold more often than not. And more often than not is a little bit of an overreaction. There's only, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 games, but 7 too many, right? 7 too many. And scores that you see here, right? A lot of which is in closing time in the fourth quarter, some of which you've had the ultimate closer himself in Derrick Henry, and yet there's a one being notched in the right-hand side of the win-loss column in every single one of these games that you see on the screen. It's just not going to get it done. And let me do this, Guju, because I don't know if you were on the screen when I had this up, but Bo Smoka, who covers the Ravens for Press Box, went and looked, courtesy of Pro Football Reference here, Ravens blown leads since the start of the 2022 season. Okay, now we can go back to in 2022, and that's obviously going back. Oh, I just put you off the screen. Give me 1 second. Okay, here it is. Blown leads since the start of the 2022 season. And I just, for the purpose of this conversation, look, the Ravens in 23 and 24 and 25 have had generationally talented rosters. You can go back to 2019 and say that as well. But think about what they have around Lamar now, offensively speaking, pass catching wise, compared to 2019. And the fact that this list right here since 2022 has, let's see here. Look at how many games have been in 23, 24, and 25. The overwhelming majority of this list, aside from 1, 2, 3, 4 in 2022, have come in seasons where they have had generationally talented rosters. And at some point here, they're going to have to answer for this. They're going to have to answer this. And look, it's John Harbaugh that's going to have to answer to this. I don't think Steve Bisciotti would pull the plug unless things go south and he loses the locker room. And I don't think there's any indication that he's lost the locker room 1 week into this season. But at some point here, as an owner of one of the 32 NFL teams with a perennial Super Bowl contending team and a generational quarterback who's in his 8th NFL season, who has yet to play for a bowl, at some point, a decision is going to have to be made should they continue to fall short in this kind of way, right? It's not like, oh, so close. It's no. We were already across the finish line, and then we started backtracking.
You know, one thing I have to add on that.
Loud, Juju. At some point, it's going to get loud.
I think one thing we have to one thing that I remember, was it a season or two ago where John Harbaugh, I guess they were trying to hire like a games situational coach or something of the case. I don't know if you were.
Sorry to cut you off. So it was a year ago. It was the offseason leading into this past season.
Yeah.
The 24 season. And I believe they were looking at Jerry Rosberg, who used to be their special teams coordinator, to serve as sort of a clock management, game management role. And that fell through for whatever reason. Now, they did make a hire. I believe they brought in a former official. So you finish that thought, and I'll refresh myself on who that hire is. Go ahead.
Yeah, but it just feels like just seeing that kind of proved that there was an issue with clock management, and situational awareness from Coach Harbaugh, which just kind of I get he's like a people's coach, but there's just certain things where it's like, man, you're the head coach of the Ravens. Look at our squad. Look at what we have here on both sides of the ball this year. It's just unacceptable to lose like this. You have Derrick Henry, Lamar Jackson, and you choose to go a passive approach constantly in these games when they can't stop a nosebleed either. It's just, there's one common denominator to the failures on the defensive side of the ball and offensive side of the ball throughout these years, where we have these leads and our defense can't make a stop. It's John Harbaugh. And it's like our team, I think I heard somebody say we're bullies, right? When a bully is, they're all tough and punching on somebody that's weaker than them. But once somebody punches back, we falter. So that's just what it is, man. We're not like the old school Ravens, bro. That's just it is what it is.
Juju, I got the answer to the question that I think you were sort of posing there, the hypothetical. So as Jeff noted here, I needed a reminder on it because it kind of went under the radar as most news does the last week of July, because I think everybody's coming out of summer hibernation. But the Ravens hired a longtime NFL referee / umpire, and this is according to Jeff, Tony Mikulik, to work with the team and help out with rules interpretations, penalty explanations, and prevention. Mikulik has been with the team throughout training camp. The move is similar to what the Bills did in hiring John Perry last year. So again, that just maybe answers your question, maybe doesn't. It's not Jerry Rosberg. But ultimately, that was somebody that they brought in to help out John Harbaugh this past summer.
Yeah. So which I guess might have helped. Even though I still think we were pretty bad with penalties compared to last year when we faced the Chiefs in the first game. I guess it's better than that. But I got the
numbers for you. Penalties wise, last night 7 for 51, negated 51 yards, 7 total penalties. Buffalo had 5 for 38, and my, the Bills really beat the Ravens at their own game in the second half. They outpossessed them by 9+ minutes. 9 minutes in terms of time of possession. It's just not going to get it done. Ravens the formula is always to take and play keep away almost by grounding and pounding it, dominating in the trenches. That's something they did in the first half and throughout times, really all throughout the game. but that was not the case when it mattered the most in the fourth quarter. Let me get to Rave, brother. Juju, thank you for the call, man.
Yeah,
I hope
thanks
to
for
do it
having me,
again
man.
with you. All right. Catch up with you soon. Thank you guys for being with me today. Rave, thank you for holding. Big show today, over 1,000 concurrents at the moment. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. Consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership by pressing the join feature. Thanks to Dre Dog for another super chat. He says, if Harbs is to go, who takes his place? That feels like it's an annual tradition, exercise type question that we've had. We'll see. I don't think Steve Bisciotti would pull the plug 1 week into this season unless there was an indication that he's lost the locker room. And while we're on the outside looking in, I have no evidence to believe that might be the case. But again, somebody, should this kind of epidemic continue to follow them, this kind of Achilles heel trend continue to follow this team, at some point, someone is going to have to answer for it. Thank you, Dre. Appreciate you guys for being here. Join the Bobby Baltimore Discord server. It's a great day on Monday, even though under these circumstances, it may not feel like it, to interact with like-minded Ravens fans. It is a free 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. We're coming up on 1,000. I know Rave gets after it in here as well, and he's about to right now. He's looking at me like he's mean mugging and ready to get in here to talk about some offensive line football. But before I bring him on, you can visit the link that's included in the live chat right now if you'd like to join. It's free, and it's a 24/7 hub for conversations surrounding Baltimore sports. And all morning long, since this one went final last night, as you can see, people have been chatting. Literally, in the last 20 minutes, there's already 50 new messages in here. So if you want to get involved, oh boy, you already knew this was going to be coming in here. There's memes, there's gifts, there's Ravens receipts, there's all kinds of content going on. So go enjoy it, go check it out, and help me reach 1,000 members between now and hopefully week 2 this upcoming weekend. Back to the guest lines we go. Rave has been waiting patiently. My friend, it's good to finally talk to you firsthand. And I know you got a lot on your mind today, my brother. So you just lay it on us. Where are you at?
And here we go.
That is an all-time movie scene, first and foremost, okay?
No. Listen. Hashtag. No, I'm not going to start off with that. I told you so. I told you so. I told you so. We're going to keep.
Did you sleep last night, Rave?
You think I fell asleep? I broke about 2 TVs. Okay? I literally broke the TV in my room and went to another room just to break another TV until I felt like I actually relieved some stress. Now, a lot of people try to tell me, Daniel Falala, he's getting better. He's getting better. He's doing his thing. I mean, he's a Pro Bowler, Falala. That man was the worst blocking I've ever seen so far. If you don't believe me, I made a video about him on Twitter. It is now at 100,000 views. I'm not joking. I tweeted to you and Sarah about it too. No jokes about it. Falala was a big reason why they can't do the great things they really want to do on offense. I'm gonna keep it real. They don't really want to run to his side. And if they do run to his side, we're talking a 3-yard gain, 5-yard gain, because no one can trust this giant mammoth of a man that's supposed to be killing people, right? If we're being fair, he's supposed to be killing people, but he's just like a soft as butter. I want to hurt a fly, that's what Falala gives me. I want to hurt a fly, coach. That's what he gives me. Now, secondly, I want to give you your flowers on, because you're starting to slowly see that John Harbaugh is a huge issue, Bobby. And I'm not saying like you was ever because Sarah, I just know it. When we get to the vault, I know she's going to find a way out. She's going to dig the biggest trick she could find to somehow defend this John Harbaugh issue. Everyone wants to say this and that. I've heard all kinds of comments. I've heard it all. I promise you. Hashtag Ben Cleveland. I've heard it all. I wasn't even tripping too much because I feel like the defense is going to get better. I've learned that The way it has been going, the defense just somehow proves to us they just gradually gets better. So we're gonna see how good that defense gets later on, right? And I knew something wasn't right when I saw Alexander's pads. It looked too big for him. I knew something wasn't gonna go right. It looked too big for him, my boy. You need to get some more pads, but that ain't the correct pads. It looked like he had 2 blocks on his shoulders. He looked for. Let me leave him alone. Let me leave him alone before I get started on Alexander. Now, secondly, what are we doing that we keep finding ourselves doing the repeated same things over and over again? And this is, y'all keep telling us as Raven fans, calm down, it's only one time, calm down, it's only one game. But it's a repeatedly moment over again. Playoffs, regular season. We are trying to tell you guys we need to fix this now because we know it's going to affect us in the playoffs because they're going to do it in the playoffs. The most important time, these NFL networks, they are going to chop down on Lamar Jackson because they're always going to go after him on one big thing when the games that matters most. And their argument is going to be so strong because we keep trying to say, oh, it's just one time. We've seen it last year, the year before that, where we have a commanding lead and we look like we got this game in our palm of our hands, and then all of a sudden, poof, we turn to consecutive. I can't even say the word correctly because I'm so mad. We just turn into these little random plays that doesn't do anything. Why is Zay Flowers running the ball before Derrick Henry? 2 jet sweeps? My guy, stop it. The dude. I knew we had to go for it on 4th down on that closing time. If anybody remembers things like 4th and 3, you remember that, Bobby. I knew we had to go for it because, and a lot of people were telling me, dude, he was close. They were close to field goal range. We really can't go for it. I knew we had to go for it because there was something in me that kept calling my name that says, if the Bills touch that ball one more time, they are going to wreak havoc. And surely they did. Went all the way down the field and took care of us. Because we are just this. And we keep saying it's the staff and it's the coaching staff and John Harbaugh. And we're blaming them because you said it yourself, Bobby. We're a stacked roster. We keep getting talent. And by the way, Bateman, DeAndre Hopkins showed you how to catch. He showed you how you really be a number 1 wide receiver. You saw that one-handed touchdown? That was a true wide receiver, Bateman. Now, anyways, let me leave Bateman.
Hold on, Ray. Why is Bate catching a stray on this Monday? Just because nobody's safe? Is that why?
Hey, if y'all got to blow a lead like that, someone's got to get it. All y'all got to get it. I'm serious. It don't make no sense. He's looking like, what in the world is wrong with you, my boy? Oh yeah, it ain't just Falala that wasn't playing so good. Now I ain't gonna lie. Andrew didn't play too bad. You know, he had some good moments, but he still had an issue too. I'm gonna keep it real with you. So these things has to be fixed now. Calvin Noy. Ooh, I've been saving this one for you, my boy. I said Calvin Noy retire. I said that in the super chat with you guys, and I said that all around the Ravens thing. I said retire because I understood that a lot of people love this guy and he still has some type of talent in him, but he's not getting any younger. I saw him do all kinds of veteran moves and got around offensive linemen. That's so cool. But guess what? Once he got around that offensive lineman, he can't catch nobody. He's old. When are we going to stop bringing these guys just because they're nice? We love them. We care about them. He's such a Raven. Stop it. Stop getting this. He's 45. Get him off the field. Get Why are y'all doing this to us Ravens fans? And then the first thing you want to say out your mouth is, stop tripping. This only one time. This one time evolves in the playoffs. Our playoff stats don't look good. It don't. It just truly doesn't. And they're going to keep coming after us. They're going to keep disrespecting Lamar Jackson. Sorry, Bobby, but as a Raven fan, I cannot continue to believe, like, just because Lamar did good, We need a championship outcome for this guy because they're going to keep seeing. They're going to look at him as a Charles Barkley. We fans don't like that. Lamar is not a Charles Barkley, but he's going to keep looking like a Charles Barkley because people are going like, oh my God, Lamar won this, Lamar won that. We can't say that. But that's how they're going to keep being viewed as, because we know he's not a Charles Barkley. We know he's a championship caliber quarterback, and he's going to keep. We got. Oh, what's his name? James Acko. What's his name? How do you say his name? I can't even say his name. Acko. How you say his name? Acko, whatever his name is. He on Twitter talking about. Yeah, man, whatever his name is, talking about some. And now y'all don't want to believe me when I voted for him for MVP because he's just better than Lamar Jackson. I was like, that made me so mad. I'm not even gonna lie. But listen, last thing for sure. Hashtag Ben Cleveland. Because y'all saw how bad that was from Falala, and there's no way anyone can persuade me and says, oh my God, his practice was so bad. Okay, so you're telling me his practice was so bad that you're gonna let that Falala on that field? You cannot tell me Falala was that bad. I mean, that bad. He got pushed so many times. It was so bad when the Lamar Jackson that play that when he ran all the way 75 yards back, whatever that was, and then somehow ran and got touched a first down, whatever. Falele didn't block nobody. He ain't touched nobody. I think he tapped the defender on the shoulder. He said, "How you doing? Tap tap." Like, what are you doing? Are you blocking? Or at least act like you're blocking. He looking at the space. Like, look, man.
Rave, I gotta get ready.
I'm sorry.
For
No problem. I understand. Hashtag Big Cleveland. I'm out.
Somebody clip that. All right. Somebody with Premiere Pro capabilities, go clip that. Go screen record that and make sure that it gets in the Twitter sphere, because that was one of the all-time crash outs on the guest line that this channel and the Vault has ever seen. I just don't have enough time because I got to go get ready for Sarah and I got to get ready for our noon lunch hour live stream. So somebody, please do me the favor and go clip that. Over 1,100 of you concurrently watching at the moment. Please like the video, subscribe, hit that notification bell, consider becoming a channel member or gift-giving membership on this Overreaction Monday. You can also support my brand sponsors that support this channel and make it go. I'm talking about Preston Automotive Group. Scan the QR code in the upper right-hand corner. You can go to ProfitX.co, and if you use code BobbyB, again, that's ProfitX.co, use code BobbyB, it'll get you up to $200 in profit cash on all your plays for the first 30 days. And as always, guys, I appreciate you. Lots more content to get to today. John Harbaugh meets with the media at 2:30. I will go live again coming up later. But first, we're an hour and 20 minutes out from me and Sarah kickstarting things on the Vault right here on YouTube. It'll be live for you in our respective Twitters as well. Thank you to ProfitX. Thank you to Preston Automotive Group. And thanks to all of you for spending part of your Monday with me. Thanks to all the great calls as well. One that I'll never forget if it's Rave Kingdom. And hey, by the way, Discord continues to pump. Let's just get a quick little update, a live update in terms of where we're at. 925 thus far, 925 members. Would love for you to go join the community over there. You can sulk with folks. You can relate with folks on this Overreaction Monday after yet another excruciating loss. Again, just drop that link. It is free to join the Bobby Baltimore Discord community by visiting the link that I just dropped into the live chat. All right, 2 more live streams coming up. Celsius, a half can down. Got to go get some actual breakfast. Make sure Tilly's good. It's storming here in St. Pete, and we're off on this Monday, September 8th. Talk to you in an hour and